got everything. Got the music. We're live already. Like we're live, guys. Not really.
Testing one.
We are live. Well, we're recording.
I'm gonna be useless on this episode.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Why's that, buddy?
I don't watch it.
It's not that greatest podcast.
First reported by my wife, Jacob Fatu.
I'm gonna be useless this time.
Jacob Fatu made his debut on SmackDown tonight. The Bloodline storyline is really picking up. Jacob Fatu. I actually thought it was going to be Talatanga, the Hailuku from New Japan, who was with the Gorillas of Destiny. He's 6'8". He's the younger brother.
All right, settle down with your high Hawaiian words.
Stats.
Too much. Well,
your Samoan knowledge is too much for all of us. That's ridiculous. That's
I'm like 1%.
Got it down.
Perfect.
So I know Cuz shared a text earlier today that was like they just trademarked Caesar Sikoa. Do we think that's going to be solo, or do you think that's going to be another member?
I think it's probably going to be solo. I think because he's going to rule the Bloodline with an iron fist. It's going to be like a Kaiser. If you guys play Fallout New Vegas, for all my video game nerds out there, it's an interesting story. That if they go that realm where he becomes Caesar, like I hope that's how they kind of do it with solo.
Are they on this pod? They hang out.
Interesting.
I thought they might have been behind. I thought they might have been behind me.
There's tons more to come out. Like you could have this is going to be Red, Black, Wolfpack, NWO. This could be. It could dilute it pretty quickly if it doesn't work.
I think it's already.
But it's working right now. It's fine.
I'm really compelling. It's awesome. They better watch out because it might actually overshadow the Wyatt Six. But this is really good stuff.
Well, I think Wyatt Six is going to be separate though. If they were the same feud, I would agree.
No, I'm making a joke because a former writer was on. I forgot who interviewed him today. But it's like, dude, Wyatt Six just debuted on Raw, and he's like, man, they better be careful, man. It's already overshadowing the Wyatt Six, this Bloodline stuff. I'm like, they just showed up.
No, it's not.
He's an idiot. Like,
on top of that, that's more of a Raw. Bloodline's more of a SmackDown thing.
Yeah, Bloodline is SmackDown. Wyatt Six is Raw.
Yeah.
It's speaking of which, I guess we could talk about that too. I like the production. I like what they did. I feel like it's a little too theatrical. I mean, I get it. It's not supernatural.
Wait, you're saying it's too theatrical?
I've always felt. I never liked theatrics in wrestling.
I think
like
it's fine.
the Wyatt family. I like all of that, but
everybody keeps saying that everybody was murdered. I'm like, I know it looked like that. They wanted it to look like that. They're not going to kill. They killed off everybody. Like everybody's dead. Like I was like, it's not going to. Like I liked it a lot. I thought the production was wonderful. It was one continuous shot. Like I thought it was really cool, nicely done. What did I hear on a podcast? It's all about the follow up. It's all about the follow up.
Just didn't somebody go on Wikipedia and say that
Chad Gable was dead.
Chad Gable was dead.
They're so good.
He died.
Well, you know that they knew that wasn't true, but they wrote it anyway. They wrote it in there anyway.
Let's hope that they learned. The problem with Bray Wyatt, and God rest his soul, and it was amazing, is when it came to the in-ring stuff, it was always not well done when they did
that. Was too
the worms on the thing. They had to do the Mountain Dew death thing. And so it had to stay this thing of supernatural. I hope that they can separate the backstage theatrics from the in-ring product and both all be good wrestlers. I mean, that's a good crop of guys. Eric Rowan.
It is.
Was that Bray or was that production?
I think it was a matter of the whole thing and creative and his kind of persona. It's like he did have some good matches in ring. I'm not saying that, but towards the end, we know Bray. We know Bray. Bray can always work.
Put it in degrees. Yeah.
All right.
All
right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think, it's hard to say because obviously they let Bray have a lot of free reign, with what he wanted to do. I don't know if the red light was his idea. I don't know if the worms on the ring mat was his idea. It probably was, I'd imagine, because I think Vince would have came up with something worse than that, even though that I didn't like the worms in the ring and stuff like that.
I don't know how that could get any worse. I think that maybe he had an idea, and I think Vince was probably like, "We'll put him on the ring." He's like, "I don't want that."
You guys didn't like the Boogeyman? I don't understand. The Boogeyman ate worms all the time, and it was captivating.
What about the money?
Worms cost little money, but produce big money. Boogeyman.
Very cheap, and they're union.
Worms are union. That's
you try fighting that's why you don't see a lot of worms anymore in WWE. They're too expensive.
That's true.
Once they unionized, it all went to shit. That's what happened.
They're too expensive.
Yep.
But
That's what happened.
So I mean,
oh yeah. Oh,
I don't like that sound.
That's Cuz's favorite sound.
I want that off the soundboard.
Just makes you uncomfortable.
I want that off the soundboard.
Suka.
I was trying to get a good like porn like moan, and like even after I did it, I was like, well, I don't have time to go back and fix that, but that's a problem. Like I knew like it was just it's the wrong pitches, and it's just like
it's stuck forever now, brother.
Well, you know,
it's very, very hard to get a 5-star match.
And it is, David. It is.
Yeah.
Oh, who's Dave Meltzer? PW Insider? What did he do? What?
Yeah,
he charged more money.
Yeah, he cranked up his subscription prices.
Fucking wham, bro! Like, why are they bitching about it? Like, don't pay it then. Like,
that's bold.
Again,
bold of
I'm gonna go back to what Jess told me. He said, "Dave, do you not like Dave Meltzer?" I said, "No, I don't." He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna go on Twitter." I said, "Okay." I went on Twitter. You're gonna go to Dave Meltzer. Go to Dave Meltzer, and you're gonna unfollow him. I said, okay, I unfollowed him, and I followed his directions to the T. Now
he's been happy ever since.
I've been much happier. I don't even have Twitter at all, and I'm way happier without it. I'm so fucking happy. What the fuck do you care if he charges you more money? Then don't pay the money. Don't pay the fucking money. If nobody pays the money, then he'll know that he fucked up. But guess
PW
what?
Insider, even though I love Mike Johnson from PW Insider, I think he's my favorite like dirt sheet guy.
Oh yeah, good. I like them.
But you know, listen,
you're crossing the line, right?
They're riding a wave too because Bischoff somehow likes Mike Johnson. So he always goes, you know, excluding PW Insider because I like them. They're purple, and they call so they're riding that wave too. They're both all the dirt sheets are scumbag leeches that will leech on to what they can.
You wait a minute. You didn't say that before though. You're like there's some that report legitimate journalism, really do the work.
Fight.
Well, and PW Insider does, but they're going to ride the wave. If they know that Eric Bischoff is talking good stuff, they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to lean into him. So that now they're Eric Bischoff's favorite. So they're not going to go against Bischoff. They're going to go get. Bischoff is constantly attacking Meltzer because he's a scumbag parasite, leech loser. Like, so they're going to be like, yeah. Like,
what's the news source? Like, I'm a lawyer. What's the name of that company that does all they get everything first? All that. He's like, I'm a lawyer. They report stuff right away. What is the name of that fucking news cycle? No. I'm talking about regular news, like celebrity news and
TMZ.
Like, TMZ. Yeah. So what you're saying is they're like TMZ. They're getting legitimate news, but they're still trash. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, they're bottom feeding or whatever. Really, like there's no.
I'm just trying to like for the viewers. Trying to put it together. Trash. They're like TMZ. It's legit, but they're still fucking trashy ass.
And then even the sterile ones are kind of trash. Like they're all leeches on. All of them are. Even Chris Van Zant, is that how you say his name? I like his stuff. But he's very vanilla. He's very safe. But you know what? He gets everybody on the show because he is, and he's not controversial, and he's not going to. So same thing with Sam I Am and all that stuff, who works for WWE now. They're all very safe, and they're very, what's his fate? Roseburg.
They get nice snips though for YouTube, and
they all those are like the vanilla ones, and they're very safe. They're the ones allowed in the WWE press conferences. But then all the other guys, those are the guys in the AEW press conferences, like the Meltzers and
whatever.
Hey, they have the cultists.
It's very political. I'll say that
the cultists subscribe to the Meltzer, and then the wrestling fans.
There's no WWE elitist at all. Like
there is, but
WWE is totally there's tons, and it's a bigger
Albert
number because think about it. If they have more viewers. How many more viewers would you say WWE has?
I don't think they're WWE leaders. I think they're just more pro wrestling.
Of course
fans.
Can I ask a different? Can I ask a different?
Even
Alvarez has to say,
they are WWE elitists. There's a lot of people that will not bash against WWE. Anything else WWE is trash.
When Alvarez has to tell people,
for example,
I always bash WWE. There's so many text messages we can go back to 2014 of me talking shit on WWE.
People who say that.
Did I not say
that usually means
I stopped watching WWE from 2007 to 2011?
I think we all stopped watching WWE at some point.
But it was bad. Because I hated it. It sucked.
95, I stopped watching for a while.
There's still things, but Brian Alvarez, for him to have to actually say, because he was going to praise WWE, for him to actually have to say, I'm going to disappoint some people right now because they're going to want me to trash everything that happened on. That kind of tells you the mentality on his subscribers.
You're going to make me defend Brian Alvarez. I'm so irritated about it.
I'm not talking
That is legitimately both of them just playing both sides. Because if, by the way, I'm sure you can find tape somewhere where they're gonna be like, there's gonna be people that really get mad at me right now, but AEW is doing a really good job with this. I'm sure it goes the other way because Craig says all the time, it's all about clicks. You want someone to love you, and someone hates you.
It's not even about what they say. It's if the WWE, how many more viewers would you say that WWE has in AEW? Like 50 times, 100 times?
As far as weekly show, I don't know what AEW gets. What, like 800?
As big as you want, right? So if they have way more viewers than they're by far, they're going to have way more cultists and way more. Every number on WWE is going to be bigger.
A lot of WWE audience is also
not true.
Well, because they're also kids.
Because there's kids and casuals.
Yeah,
there's kids and casuals, and they watch and then they go on with their lives.
Why can't that qualify? Like, why can't that qualify?
Because they're kids and they probably don't know better. They don't know what else is out there. They don't watch AEW.
They don't keyboard.
They don't watch AEW.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, they don't. I'm trying to say they don't keyboard warrior the whole thing. Like they're not.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like 8-year-olds, like whatever. I'm talking about there's a lot of people. WWE has a bigger audience across the board. Whether it's people who love them, hate them, hate watch them. Like it's all bigger on WWE's side because they're so far.
And there's another machine. Well, there's also another.
There's way more answerists like WWE fans than there is AEW fans. Like
there's another factor.
I'm in the trenches, and I was. I'm not anymore.
Here's what I think you might be missing. I'm not trying to like say you are missing it because this is conversation. When I'll put it in the realms of like just put it in the realm of a small company that's trying to beat a large company. When you're small, it's okay to punch up and call those guys dick bags and whatever, and they suck ass and they don't care about their customers at all and blah blah blah. When that company becomes the big company, now you're punching down and you look like a douchebag and a bully and things like that. So when fans of WWE and whether they're kids or they're older, you really can't go off on AEW because it's just you look stupid because like why are you picking on a little guy? And all these sycophants that are AEW wholesome will attack you. It's not worth it. So when WWE all in all is putting out we all know is the best product with the most ratings because they also 100%. They have the best storyline along with great matches. AEW has better matches, Craig. I think you and I all agree on this, even though I Craig sees them because you see them more than I do. It's punching down. So when that happens and someone's like, WWE's the best, AEW sucks, and you'll just get attacked from the minority of it. And it's not
You know what my favorite match is right now?
That makes sense.
That I'm putting, and it's probably now my number one favorite
match, right? If I had to guess,
it's
right?
Takeshita versus Ospreay. That's my favorite match of all time right now. That literally is
a great match.
Before that, it was almost Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega.
Yeah, and by the way, that totally makes sense. I mean, the issue is that you got way more exposure, worldwide exposure with WWE. You've got better storylines. You've just got better management. You got people telling them exactly how it's going to be. Where you have Tony Khan, and I know I don't want to beat him on it too much, where he's supposed to be the final guy, but you get too many people meddling. Do you think Triple H gives a shit about what Dewdrop says?
I don't care.
What's going to happen in Scotland? She said, can we get to Scotland? He's like, we're already talking about it. Shut the fuck up. Shut up, Piper. Like, we already know. Like, he didn't say it like that. I know he didn't. He obviously handled it better. You don't think he knew? He fucking knew. Like, it's his decision. It's their decision. It's nobody's. This is how it's going to be. You don't like it, go somewhere else. Like, what the fuck? What's the problem? Sorry,
I saw a tweet today which made a lot of sense. It's like, so it's a fact that AEW Dynamite had only 500,000 viewers
They went up against
Nielsen on Wednesday, which is the lowest it's ever done. Right. And no, not this week.
No, it didn't.
And then NXT had 750,000. Right. So that and what they were saying is usually the AEW lead-in is, I think, Young Sheldon or 2.5 Men, one of those two. And then usually it gets 250,000 people to start, right? So the lead-in. And then this week they had Black Panther, which only had 80,000 viewers. So that kind of hurt it, but they also said they're not sure exactly why it happened. So everyone really ripped into it, whatever. And then there was a tweet that said, if you're delighting in the decline of a wrestling company, like you're not really a wrestling.
Bubba Ray put that out.
Yeah.
Bubba Ray said real wrestling fans will never celebrate the downfall of another company.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Because it's competition. You don't want to see that. You don't I like that I could still go on YouTube and all the promotions that probably no one really knows about, like they all have YouTube shows. Like you can watch all their weekly. That's how I found Bronson. I saw him wrestling in Australia, Rampage Wrestling. That's where I saw him and a few others wrestling there, and I was like, oh shit, I'm a fan of this guy. And then when he went to NXT, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm glad he's there now. But yeah, that's how you discover all these.
I wouldn't know if I didn't have my big
cultist.
satellite dish. If I didn't have my big satellite dish, like I would never have known that Fagwell was Handsome Stranger in Global. I would never have known that the Patriot was in Global first before he went to WWF.
What the hell is so impressive about that?
Like I wouldn't have known any of that. And this is way before internet, you know, obviously, and all that. But it's like, yeah, like if I didn't have an open mind and watched other stuff, like I never would have appreciated wrestling. I would have just watched WWE the whole time. And then when they got bad, I would just stop watching altogether. I may never have came back, but because real wrestling fans search. And I think that's the thing, is just the minority's bitch, really. Like, you know,
Right.
and like I said, to my point earlier, WWE has way more haters out there than AEW. It's not possible for AEWs to have more cancerous people. Everything in WWF is bigger. They're hate watchers, they're people who watch to like it, the people who go to the event, everything's bigger. Like it has to be. It's that way. There's
the overall number of people, and there's the per capita.
I just think,
right?
The problem is you hate people that kicked WWE while they were down, and I get it. You're loyal to WWE
while they were down.
No, you just critique them. You didn't shit on it. You just critique them. Like that's fine. You just said, "Hey, I don't like what they're doing right now."
I always shit. I said, "What the fuck is this stupid shit? What is this fucking?"
But you don't actively hate on people. You didn't attack people online. Maybe you did because you get canceled by a lot of people. But like, but I mean, like, you didn't actively hate on people. Oh, if you watch WWE right now, you're stupid. Like, you don't do that, right? Like, so that's not you're different
either. I don't say people are stupid for watching.
I don't think you do.
I just critique AEW.
And you know what's funny about that?
You know why? Because I'm still. I know it's still an old news thing. I'm still holding it again. Don't insult my fucking intelligence and tell me you're the alternative when you're doing the same goddamn shit, and you're kind of worse than Vince McMahon at doing the sports entertainment stuff.
Craig, what were you gonna say, bud?
I was just gonna say that the people, if you're a person that loves AEW and hates on WWE, you're probably an angry dude. Like
that's what I would see.
To not love WWE and to then love just AEW, then fight WWE.
You're like just mad. What are
you like to fight? Sure. Like yes.
It's that scene in Secretary.
But to swing back on the other end,
what are you so mad at, son?
If they're not WWE and they're Bush League and they're trash, that's also a problem. You're also a terrible person, like, and not a good wrestling fan. Like, to be honest, like
1000%.
But
like,
I will say, right now, on a weekly basis, AEW is not giving me a reason to want to shell out $50 every time.
That's their biggest problem. That's their biggest problem, because they don't know how to loop their fucking storylines together. They don't know how to do it.
That's the thing. Like, I'm sure there's going to be great matches.
There's two things solve that problem. Storyline, streaming.
Streaming, my God, like streaming.
TSS,
they need that badly.
Streaming is the biggest thing.
I hope they get that. I hope they get that, because I want to, like, and
they need to. It's they're so overdue for it. You don't need to pay $50 for a PLE anymore. It doesn't make sense.
I don't mind watching a pay-per-view on a Sunday if I'm already paying for that streaming service for $10 a month. Oh, fuck yeah!
And by the way,
if you want to educate yourself and you want to go back and look at the storylines, you can go back and look at the month before.
I will subscribe as soon as it's announced. 100%. I will subscribe.
You know what you should do?
Right there. I want to.
I think there's a lot of people that don't buy AEW pay-per-views. I would put some of those pay-per-views to end like in the middle of Dynamite or what have you, like just to show the quality. Like, I mean, I know it's probably a waste of TV space, and I know they did in WCW just when they had the Goldberg.
And I think it's the old adage, Craig. I think WCW did try that in the mid '90s when they were really shit too, and they were showing stuff from like the late '80s and shit. And then, like, I think the big critique was, why are you showing product about how good you used to be? Like, Vince would try that stuff too in the mid '90s when he was terrible. And when you would show anything from the '80s, they're like, you just make us miss what you used to be. And so I think that's the danger of like doing that, is because it's like, can I ask it a different way? Why wouldn't you give away some of your PLE stuff that's current?
Yeah.
On those shows to see if you can get them to go.
That's what I was actually talking about. Was like play a match from Forbidden Door 2 weeks later, not necessarily.
So
to
your point, like, you know, the last time that WCW ever beat WWF in the ratings in the Monday Night Wars was because they fucked up the night before at Halloween Havoc 98.
Right. And they had to show that pay-per-view
during the Goldberg and DDP thing, and it kicked people off. So people got refunds. So Bischoff said, let's air this whole match on Nitro. That segment set a segment record for the Monday Night Wars, and it was the last time they beat WWF because that rating was so high for the Goldberg and whatever. And by the way, less people buy your pay-per-views that watch your weekly television anyway. So like, it's just kind of like, that's not a bad point, Craig. Like in that sense, if you do it right, like you could actually get a spike
because they don't have
rating,
streaming,
like,
so you can't sample everything. You can't go watch all these PLEs anymore. Like, so if you've never shelled out $50, you don't know how much better their PLEs are than their TV shows.
I use some Ospreay as an example. What about Daniel Bryan? Like what? Bryan Danielson, like the amount of matches that we've never seen, won or lost, who cares, that we haven't seen because I don't buy their pay-per-views, that you could say, hey, we're going to show you a fucking knockout moment.
And to Cuz's point, if you tune into the fucking free TV and it's fucking trash and you can't fucking get through
I don't want to buy it.
Like you might hear a bunch of rhythms and stuff like that.
What if you catch a snip?
Do it.
Can I ask you a question?
I
don't know the answer. Craig and Cuz, maybe just you, obviously all of you would know. When you watch Dynamite, as an example, do they show you fantastic vignettes or product packages of the pay-per-view from the night?
Don't do any. Actually, now that you say it, now you bring it up, you do shit. Like, who
does that? Who does that 100%?
WWE all the time.
And it doesn't help too when it
I didn't know the answer. I was trying to experiment. Like, if they don't do that and they just talk about how great it was, what if you could show them in a vignette? Yeah.
Maybe say right after Dynamite this week. I mean, I know it doesn't help ratings for the show, but right after Dynamite this week on our YouTube channel, we're going to give you Ospreay versus so and so for free from the last pay-per-view, and then everybody goes there and they could see it. YouTube, like they could go, oh fuck! Like,
they're getting their hits on YouTube still. So I mean, I don't know. I
have a suggestion, Jess. Like, so here, okay, let's just say
I see what you're saying, Cuz, but I mean, like, I'm just saying more like anything to try to get them. Yeah, they're going to get hits on YouTube, but then like anything to get people. Okay, well, I want to watch this product. But but to your point, like you said, if the product's just bad and it doesn't make any sense.
Well, no,
it won't matter.
What I was going to say is like, do they even care enough? Like, if they're making enough from the YouTube hits, are they even like
maybe? But
is there
what
the
if you
to do anything?
If you're concerned, if you're concerned about the TV deal and the TV ratings, how hard would it be to talk about? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do.
Maybe am I wrong with this? Can I say something? I don't see any difference with the way AEW is booking that they did fucking 3 years ago. I don't. Like,
no,
that's done.
Right. That's kind of what we're doing.
That's different. Like 3 years ago is when I started fucking criticizing them because I got their first pay-per-view and I was watching it every weekend and everything, and then it was like that shit. It was right. It was before Triple H took over, like 6 months almost, or even longer before Triple H took over. They already started kind of.
Let me throw something at you guys.
I mean, what do you mean getting bad though? I don't know a difference. Like they always brought indie darlings on. They always.
It was probably the hot shiny new toy. Maybe I don't know.
It was, and that's my point. That's my point. Is they're not really doing that much different.
But the first year they had more.
They're trying harder and they're mishandling stuff because they're trying hard right now to do it. You can't try hard. If you try hard, it's obvious. And I think they're trying hard to be clever and loop stuff together, and it doesn't. But I'm legitly, because I'm not any better than anybody on this call or any better than any wrestling fan that might be listening. But like when I watch Collision, even now, even last week, I enjoy the shit out of it because it's good wrestling and I watch it. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, to me, like they're not doing it like what you said, Cuz, though. But I think the WWE product got even started to get better before Triple H took over because Triple H had influence in the back.
Yeah,
like he was starting to make it more relevant. Was Vince still over it? Yes. But we all were in Dallas. That WrestleMania to me started it. It was the re-debut of Cody. It was a bunch of different things that like just clicked. And then I think the product was hot. And then that summer is when Vince got booted out for the first time. And then it was just like different. Like it was like, okay, it's a way more hipper product. So to Cuz's point too, and my point, like they're not doing too much different right now. They're not the shiny toy anymore. Like. And the biggest company that has the biggest influence got better. And WWE's always been the driving force.
You know what?
Even with WCW.
It always felt like to me, whenever you started hearing about, whether it's true or not, of all the mess and the unorganization and the pettiness and shit backstage in AEW, like, yeah, you're not seeing it on screen, but there's just always like a feel, a vibe like that is what's going on. And it just, I don't know. It brings a feeling
honestly,
to the front
I
of
think
the
it's just
screen.
because it's been reported. There is no vibe.
Well,
when I watch the product, there's no vibe of dysfunction or anything like
maybe
that.
Not
it
right
looks like
now, but there was.
It looks like a finely produced television show.
No,
it does, like it does, like not as good as WWE, but I mean, like it does, and like
I don't know how to say it.
It lost its luster with the fans, the cancerous fans, and like that's what happens is like because their viewership is way lower than WWE. If your core audience betrays you or you betray them, whatever you want to say, like it's going to go down quickly because they don't have the footprint that WWE does. They don't have the built-in audience. And Craig said it a million times, cuz you've said this a million times, they don't cater to kids. So you're going to lose a massive, like that's what happened to them. Like I don't know. There's no answer like to
that
get
might
it back.
Be it though. They don't know who they are. Like it's like, are you going to be sports entertainment like WWE, or do you want to be?
What are
ECW?
you? Or not even just
like,
what's your voice? Even if you're going to be kind of semi-sports entertainment, which all wrestling is.
Because I will say this,
but like
a lot of the people that left AEW, one of the things that left WWE for AEW, whether they got fired or they left on their own. A lot of what you always heard, whether they went online and said it themselves on Twitter or an interview, I just want to be a pro wrestler. And then what do? They all come up with a sports entertainment character over Tony Storm. She's doing great. But all these people said, I want to go and be a pro.
Have to, though,
no, I know, but that was their gripe all the time. I don't want to be a character. I want to be a pro wrestler. That's what you heard a lot. Like a lot of them would say that. Right. I don't want to go and be a stupid character. I don't want to go and I want to just be a pro. Now you're seeing you have to do that. You have to be a character to get to that next level.
I think, I think you're right. I think people lost what they know the definition of pro wrestler to be. I think even back in the 70s and 80s, I mean, if you're not a good character, you're not a good pro wrestler. Like you're just going to get vanilla and get lost in the mix.
You might be a great
it's always been that way. Vince turned it up to 11. Like whenever he took over the company. Like and
that was the
made
sentiment.
His own.
You would always hear that though. You like I said, whether the wrestlers themselves would blast it on Twitter or in an interview, or you just heard reportings, that's what you would hear. I don't want to go to be a character. I don't want to be a character. I just want to be a pro wrestler. It's like, well, you kind of are not now. Like you kind of realizing when you go, you have to, if you want to translate and reach a bigger audience.
Like Okada's fucking gene.
Dude, Okada's fucking hilarious.
Fucking goddamn it,
Did you see the T-shirt?
No.
Yes.
What was the shirt? What's the shirt?
He's like hanging on a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, and he goes,
because they got him a Lamborghini for a gift or whatever a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he's awesome,
literally
man.
just a shut up bitches,
so
but he's in glasses in the suit laying in the car. Like that's
I'm so sorry.
Like, he cries and he goes,
that shit was fucking bitch. Wow, that's so fucking funny. That shit was fucking hilarious. Yeah.
I think I might have said it a few weeks ago on here. It's not Ospreay. If I was WWE, that I'd be kicking myself. I'd be like, how do we not get Okada? How do we fucking not get Okada?
Like Okada was also like
made him a bit of a he's went from the number 3 champion in wrestling to just kind of a comedy act a little bit until he proves himself. Like it's tough. And Jay White too. And New Japan champion.
I'm probably
and then
putting
just
too much stock in there, but when you have people like Daniel Bryan there or whatever, like pushing him, I feel they're just waiting. If he's not going to be the number one guy, I think they're waiting. They're doing this until he is. And then when they do it, they will push him and he'll be in the main event and he'll fucking wow us with his in-ring skills. But I think right now, this might be the perfect thing for him. He's in their biggest storyline. Like, he's
being worn out by New Japan to wrestling twice a week. Like, or once like 3 times a month.
He's developing
the G1 schedule is insane.
He's developing his character. So
Takeshita is in the G1 this year too.
Nice.
Oh, is he? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we could talk about that, right? Did we mention that about AJ Styles? No, we didn't, because it was
Noah. The Noah WWE.
He's going to be wrestling at Pro Wrestling Noah. That's going to be awesome.
I need AJ Styles to go back to TNA. Not like leave WWE and re-sign with TNA, but they need to lend him to TNA. He is their legacy. Like him, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels. Like that, those are all the guys that were in the asylum, when they were doing the weekly pay-per-views.
Yep.
It was freaking AJ that helped build that place. I built this place. Like, yeah, it's awesome. Like, I want AJ fucking back on TNA television. I think that'd be fucking awesome. Because I remember when I was watching it, like during, when they were the only other brand or whatever, like during like 2003 to whatever. Like, I was like, God, AJ, like, is so good. And he was a lot of the guys, him, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Angle when he went over there. You saw them get reborn a little bit, Booker T, like Booker T did the same shit that he did in WWF, but still, it was like fun to watch them get creative and learn. And Abyss rose up there. Sting, did a lot of stuff like there, and I love it. Like, and I'm just like, man, now that they're partnering with TNA, I was like, please,
it's great. I love it.
I just want to see AJ back like there. It's so fucking cool.
Seeing
The pop he's
Hendry.
gonna get is amazing.
The Joe Hendry clip on Twitter.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
crazy.
so funny.
I've been out of the loop on it. I
Recorded by
know
Craig.
that it was a worldwide sensation with his entrance song,
that
but I
bit?
did
Well,
not
Craig,
know
you were
that-
saying this a while ago on the
Yes.
show. You were saying that, dude, he is so good. Like, he's funny, and I believe in him. I believe in him. That's what you're
Dude,
saying
that
on the
fucking
text
music,
thread, too.
dude.
I know it was like number one on
Joe
iTunes for some
Hendry.
reason. That that song.
Even Joe Hendry.
So I mean, good. I hope
So
they
good.
scoop him up. Like, be careful, TNA. What you wish for. They're gonna grab him.
Hendry.
Nice reverb.
That's
Dave,
fun.
have you heard the Joe Hendry song? Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
It's fucking great. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
It was just this niche like song about.
It's okay.
I
It's
believe in
almost
Joe
like-
Hendry, but it became the number one song on like Apple Music, and then he just showed
But
up.
His thing is like it's almost like a takeoff of what. Remember when DDP was being positively
Yep.
caged in WWE?
Yeah.
He was smiling,
Yep.
and it's almost like a takeoff of
That's what it
that
reminds
kind of
me
like corny fucking like character. Like, it's so fucking great. Like, he's so amazing. He's so funny.
And then Frankie Kazarian was in the NXT Battle Royale as well. So that was cool. Yeah,
That was
two
cool.
TNA
Who won
He's
guys.
that
been back
Battle
with TNA for a couple months now.
The new guy, Javon. I forgot how to say his name. Javon.
is.
He's a new guy.
Believe
The
in
young
Joe
OJ.
Hendry. My fucking head right now.
He's the young OG. Yeah, I know, dude. To me,
I
it
believe.
replaced because for a few weeks I had where like that fucking whole song stuck in my head. Now it's the Joe Hendry song. This
You
whole
did,
week-
but for everyone just listening, Cuz actually sent texts almost every day for 2 weeks saying, I can't get Big Show's music out of my head. It started with the AEW version, then more.
Yeah, because that one's a where he's got the whole world in the palm of his hand. Like, God damn it. And then I started listening to his WWE one again. I'm like, you know what? Actually, now, yeah. It was pretty catchy. And then he had that interview with Chris Van Vliet. I think I sent that to you guys, where they were talking about it, how he said he didn't like the song.
Oh, right.
really?
He wanted it to be more bluesy.
Why did he bless it twice? Because the AEW music is exactly like his fucking WWE.
That's what I'm saying. He's like, I just want a different song. Why is
Well,
always
tell him.
well?
You had a chance to be like, well, I didn't really like. Okay.
Yeah, I want something totally different. But he heard it in AEW. He's like,
Why
that'll
does it
do.
sound like I have a fucking
That'll
trucker gimmick or something?
That'll work.
Fuck. Every
And you can't
time.
tell me there's more rules in AEW because there's not. There's way less. So if anything they were going to let you do is choose your theme song. Tony Khan had been like, whatever you want. And he's like, what if we kind of copy WWE? He's like, I mean, if
Well, they
that's
got
what
the
you
same
want, he's like,
guy.
I do want that.
The guy that sang his WWE song, they got the same guy.
Yeah, they got the same guy too. What do they think that he was going to have a different like song?
I've
That guy
never
probably
heard
hates
of how
the
they
song,
produce
too.
the AEW songs.
He just like
actually.
freestyles
Who
on big
does-
shows like, well, this song is really a piece of shit. Like you fucking
What if
suck.
that's literally the only song he's ever done? And he's just like he's done 2 like studio
He's probably,
sessions
like,
and just
millionaire.
well, it's just that guy. So I'm the Big Show guy. I'm the Big
Well,
Show song guy.
Tony buys a lot of rights too from a lot of stuff. And the other thing that people don't talk about, like with the slide of AEW or whatever you want to say, is like their business model's different. Like Tony Khan says, I want you from the independents. So what do I got to do to get you here? And I want your same likeness in your songs and all that stuff. I want everything the same. So when you come here, I'm not watering you down. And they're like, well, I mean, I own everything, so you don't get to own shit. He's like, bring them on. And so like, I think that's also part of like Tony Khan's problem too, is because he brings him up from the independent. He doesn't license anything or redo anything. And it's the same shit that they do on the independent. And then he's like, this is good. And they're like, well, I mean,
he's
AEW's not making any royalties on this. They're not making any money. You just let an indie guy walk on your shit.
It's because
and
he is
do what-
listening.
yeah.
He's listening to the cultist of
Yes,
his fan
and that's
base.
that's part of the problem. Their business model is like, I want everything to be the same as when they were on the indies. I was like, I mean, that's fine when you first bring them in, but then you kind of want to repackage them, right? And put the AEW spin on them. And he's like, I do not.
Evolve.
I want to just do like the bare minimum.
They got to evolve.
I'll pay for rights. I'll pay $1 billion for Metallica.
I mean,
fucking bring Sting down.
Did you guys and pivoting a little bit because we shared the link, but and we saw like a bunch of stuff happening all on the Twitter. But did any of you guys see the WCW Who Killed WCW episode 3?
I have.
No,
I've only seen the first episode.
No, I did, and let me tell you, I don't.
Bro,
I can't do this. The part 3, I wanted to I was yelling at it. Like I was very emotional. I was like 20 years ago, Jess. Like I was yelling at it. I'm like, fucking
like
shut up.
Russo, he's trying to explain himself around
all
it,
of
or
it.
what?
Yeah, all of, especially Russo, like all of it. I'm like, oh, shut Bischoff, like, and it's a lot of it's the same shit. Like Bischoff, you don't want to know why Bischoff likes this one so much is because he only agreed to do it because they fucking at the very end were trying to say like it's not really his fault. Like, you know, and I'm like, you were a big part of it. Like you were a huge part of it. And he was also the big part of their success as well. So I think there's double, it's okay. Like, in other words, Bischoff just doesn't want to take responsibility. I'm like, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's okay. Like, I want to hug him. It's not your fault. It's okay.
Even on the Hogan's when Russo was some truth, it's like, and Kevin Nash was like, it's a shit show, man. Like, not like it is over there. Like, you're not going to have
Kevin Nash too, by the way. Like, you know, Mr. Emmett Hall were fucking watching it sink. They were fucking playing the violins on the way down. Like, they were the fucking ones on the deck just going like, nope. You guys want to keep playing? Like,
we were the iceberg.
But he did. He's like his brutal honesty.
Women and children first.
That's not true.
Women and children.
Yeah, throw them in the water.
Wait, what's up?
What's up, Titanic sinking. Women and children.
Oh,
we're talking about that.
No, I was going to say.
Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Oh, David, you matter,
Come on, David.
But Kevin Nash did like the amount of stuff where he was trying to pull at the finger poke of doom got over. And then what else did he say? Let's see. So he's actually one of the funniest, but also like still sticking to his.
They're still to this day. To this day, they have no like ties to it anymore. To this day, they're trying to defend finger poke of doom. They're trying to defend Nash beating Goldberg. Which the one thing that I will say to Nash, and I've never had a problem with Nash beating Goldberg, for the record. And Nash is like, did you hear that crowd? I was over. I was like, he was. Like, when he beat Goldberg, that place went fucking ape shit. Like, and it wasn't for a title change. Nash was over as fuck. There's no denying that he was, like, not over. And I think people wanted him to be the second heir to Hogan. I think that was the storyline. Fans wanted Nash to be the leader of the NWO, like, after a while. And I think when Hogan wouldn't relinquish it in real life, like, and then they split and they did the Wolfpack and all that stuff, I think that did diminish. I think Kevin was pissed about that. Kevin was the guy that should have probably led the NWO like in 98, 99, and Hogan stepped down, whether he turned face or whatever, it didn't matter. Like, that was the problem. I think that's why Nash was so over, because he was funny, he was cool, so was Hall, and like, they always were cool. I loved him beating Goldberg. I had no problem with that, because you know what? You finally snapped that undefeated shit. Like, that undefeated streaks kill people. Like, they just kill wrestlers. Look at Asuka, look at Ryback. Like, Asuka had to charm herself back in and become a character of herself or whatever. Like, she was on fire when she was undefeated. And the second Vince beat her, she was just nothing. And it's like, you saddled her with an undefeated gimmick. Ryback, the same thing. Goldberg, an undefeated streak is death unless you get out of it. Warrior took his loss before. They never hyped the Warrior for an undefeated streak. No. So he lost to Rude and won the title back, and people loved it because it was the journey we went on with the Warrior. That's the difference. But Goldberg, if he would have gotten revenge against the NWO after that, Goldberg never won another world title after Nash beat him. Not one.
Yeah, like Charlotte.
Because of the fact that they were fucking pushing him down. Like, they were pushing him down. They were pushing him down. They were doing everything they could to Goldberg. That's what fucked Goldberg up. It wasn't Nash beating Goldberg. To Nash's defense, it wasn't Nash beating Goldberg that fucked Goldberg up. It was the booking and the politics that fucked him up. Like, that's what did it. It was people like Hogan who didn't want to fucking get away. It was people like Nash who's like, oh, my toe hurts, so I won't be at the house shows, but you're still going to pay me. It's those motherfuckers that killed WCW. It is.
Also, can we say
fucking bullshit?
Why wasn't Hogan?
That's fucking bullshit.
This is very strange. Who made that call?
Because he's a liar.
Maybe Hogan that said no, but why?
That's why. Yeah, he's a liar. That's why. And because they were telling him, like, we're going to expose you and we're going to have all these people talk. Well, I don't want to be in a documentary where I'm on it and I'm letting people talk bad about me. That's exactly what Hogan said. He's like, no, like, I'm not going to do it. Like, because he has to actually, when he gets asked questions, he has to defend himself. Like, did you want this? Like, why would you let Nash beat Goldberg and end the streak and then him do the finger poke of doom a week later and give it to Hogan? How is that not destroying Goldberg's legacy? What he's done so far? You killed yourself. Like, they killed themselves. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's
I defend Russo in saying, like, when he was on TV a lot, we all thought like Russo was kind of a mark for himself and putting himself on TV. But he was like, you want me to do? You want ratings? You want me to like do it? Like, I'll do it. He was just kind of, I have to do it myself. I don't think it was an arrogance thing with him, and I kind of got that from that episode. Like, Russo's full of shit, but I believe Russo's he meant well.
Russo's a piece of shit.
Where's that Rock meme again? Where he's like,
Easy, man.
yeah.
Russo sucks. I will not defend Russo ever.
You don't think he wanted to be on TV? Shut
You know
up,
what, though?
bro.
Guess what, though? He collected a full paycheck, his full contract. Good for him.
He did.
And I mean that sincerely. Good for him.
Good for him.
Like when you're in this industry and it's a cutthroat industry, not I speak like I'm in it. I'm not. When you're in the wrestling industry and it's cutthroat, get what you can get. I have no problems with him doing that. But he did a lot of damage to get those paychecks on the way out. He lied and he sold himself to WCW. They had no idea what the fuck they were doing. They suspend Bischoff and then they bring in the guy. He's the guy. Like they kind of had such no knowledge about wrestling that they believed a guy going, I'm the guy that did the Attitude Era. You did? I'm going to sign you up right now. I had no fucking process to check and make sure if that was true or not. Like, it wasn't Vince. No. It wasn't Pat Patterson or Bruce Pritchard. Fuck those guys. It was Russo, a magazine writer. Fuck that. Come on. Like, anybody with a brain wouldn't have fucking hired him.
Then when it wasn't working, they said, okay, we're going to do booking by committee. And Russo said, my contract says I was had to create and I get paid and I'm going to go home and I still got paid because he didn't even want to do the committee like thing, which was pretty fucking arrogant when you think about it.
And by the way, he ended up doing a semi-committee thing because they brought him and Bischoff back together 6 months later. So it's like, I act alone, bro. And then he somehow came back with Bischoff. Like,
but they said they got along together, but then he blamed it on Hogan's relationship with Bischoff, which I totally agree.
I agree with that too.
It was very hard to do the New Blood angle and the Millionaires Club and all that shit. Like, sorry, cuz
that's what you said.
But it's good. I think it's a little too pro Bischoff.
Listen though, I think that
and it's all on YouTube. Even if I don't get Vice TV, but it shows up on YouTube the next day after the premiere, so everyone watch it.
Listen, I do disagree with some things that Bischoff said, but and I think we all are at the same time. But I mean, I know I've always been a fan of Bischoff. Like, what he did was so fucking tough, and he was so smart when you first got in there. It is a fucking gross business, and it's politics. And then you have two mergers that happened under his WCW tenure. It's all hard.
And
listen,
a lot on his table.
He's a snake oil salesman, and Bischoff will still this day. It makes me so frustrated. I'm like, you have nothing. It's like Hogan. You have nothing to lie about now. Just be honest. Just be honest. But Bischoff will be honest to a point, and then he'll back away. And I'm like, you got to be humble, dude. Like, Bischoff is the only guy to beat Vince. The only guy. It will never happen again, and never happened before him. He is the only guy. I think that's special. I think that's like something that will never be done. He did some cool shit, dude. The cruiserweight division, we still talk about to this day. Their stars, Rey Mysterio is a fucking goddamn Hall of Famer.
He is.
Because he got over to the American audience because of WCW. And like there's so Chris Jericho, like all of them, like they all got their American wrestling start and their big TV exposure from WCW in the cruiserweight division. Dude, they did some cool fucking shit. I will never forget like what Bischoff did. And like he put some good stuff on. The NWO angle alone. I know it got watered down and we talk about it all the time. But I mean, like, dude, the NWO was so fucking great when it first came out. For the first year, we're like, this shit is awesome. Like, this is great.
Speaking of some cool shit, Craig, sorry, I'm going to take your term. I'm going to pivot a little bit here. Did you guys watch Raw? Did you guys see that camera angle of Braun Breaker killing Ludwig Kaiser?
Yes, yeah.
That was
no. I thought that was a fan cam.
God,
was that the angle?
That was the angle. That was this guy. Yeah,
it was
dude.
Behind the
boundary. So what happened was Sheamus and Braun were having a banger of a match, and then all of a sudden, Ludwig Kaiser comes out and he starts wailing on Sheamus, beating the shit out of him. So they call for a DQ. The security guards immediately run down already because like Braun Breaker's going to kill somebody because he killed Ricochet last week. So we got to go down there now. So they came down, and because they wanted to bring up Ludwig and Sheamus. So they got Braun up to the ramp, and they started getting Ludwig. They were distracted with Braun, and Ludwig had Sheamus trapped his leg in the staircase. Ludwig went to one side of the ring because he was going to run all the way around and do a drop kick to the staircase to Sheamus's leg. You see Braun Breaker already standing behind him, and he's like smiling. And the security guards are like, whoa, stay back, Braun, stay back. Ludwig takes off. Ludwig is almost there. Fucking Braun just books it. And he fucking runs around and he kills Ludwig Kaiser with the fucking spear, like way harder than I've ever even seen Goldberg fucking hit someone with a spear.
It's so fast. Like
Braun Breaker is fucking
so
scary.
fast, Breaker.
And now
so
I like his song.
fast.
I like his song actually now because at first I loved his NXT one. I thought that was an amazing.
Was that the
song.
one that goes Braun?
Yeah.
It's Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker, yeah.
Dude, I always thought you were kind of crazy when you would say Braun Breaker should be one to dethrone Roman, but maybe Braun Breaker.
Oh, that, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up.
He's crazy.
I
He's
was
crazy
thinking about that. I was thinking about that.
Happen.
No, I was thinking about that actually this week. So let's say Roman beat Cody at WrestleMania this year. The way they've been booking Braun, could you actually see that now? Like if Roman was going to hold it for another year or two, could you actually see that being a possibility now? That Braun could actually.
No.
You still don't?
No.
How you don't?
I was just
No.
Don't know how you don't.
Because he's just now getting his footing right now. That's why. Like
Yeah, but how
right
good
now
is
he
he?
just comes out and he's being booked. He is good. There's a
fucking
lot
great.
of people who are talented though. There's a lot of people who are talented.
no,
I
for
mean, what's
sure.
that doesn't mean anything.
For sure.
But like
David, how
well,
much do you like Braun Breaker?
he is great. And like the way they're booking him now is awesome, but they're building him now for that. Like I need to see another year of him or 6 months. And like because it's only going to get better. Like they're only going to keep building him. He's only going to get more like layers to his character.
My thing
I think
was
that like him.
If Roman was actually going to keep it for another 2 years, how they were saying he was going to surpass Hogan's record and all this stuff and everything. That's what I'm saying.
If Roman even gets over, if Breaker even gets over, like you don't know yet. Like right now, the booking is getting over with him because he does high impact stuff or whatever. But I want the guy who was with the Lone Wolves to start showing his character on the main stage. And then it will start happening, and then people will start clicking. You have to get some kind of like what Cody has and all that stuff. That's the kind of thing that beats a Roman, because Roman is just the dominant champion, and then you need someone that comes along and gets the emotions of the fans. I don't have any emotion for Braun right now or Breaker because I don't know. I don't know him.
I don't think it's crazy to think that though, because
he does cool things, but he's
Brock
not a
Lesnar
character yet.
Brock Lesnar was a Braun Breaker, and he won the title within a year. Like.
I mean, not really. I mean, he was way different.
The company was in so much trouble.
Yeah, but he wasn't like a Cody.
Well, they weren't even in trouble, and you also had a Paul Heyman like with him, and like you had Lesnar was a totally different animal.
What year was that?
But they were planting the seeds though. They were planting the seeds with
like
Paul Heyman.
02?
They were planting the seeds with Paul Heyman and Rob Breaker. That's
it's not even the same conversation.
But if that was the case, if that's the case, maybe that will elevate him, and then you get a good personality.
Braun Breaker's not Brock Lesnar.
But we're in a
and he's
time.
definitely shown the Lone Wolf stuff was hilarious, and I love the fact that Corbin brought that out in him. All that's good stuff, and it shows that it's there. I'm not saying he's not going to get there. I'm just saying like to beat the streak like you're suggesting, and I mean the streak of Roman. Like that's a fucking tall order. It only took this magical unicorn like Cody to do it.
Had to have been on the main roster.
That's over. So what are we really talking about? Like,
I don't sympathize for Breaker.
Who's going to be the next person to take down Cody?
I wouldn't have sympathized for Brock either when he,
the next person to take down Cody though is.
And you notice that Brock never beat Roman, like because it's not fair, like in that sense, like. There's no emotion for Brock to do that. Like
my idea would have been Braun was already on the main roster for 2 years already.
Yeah, well, it depends on where he goes. Like the talent's there.
I still believe that he could have been,
Again, and I think that the emotion that he showed with the Lone Wolf stuff is fucking hilarious, and it showed that he has that other side.
My point was,
or whatever.
Because was saying it, I couldn't imagine it, and now I can So now I see that he's got the rocket strapped to him. Obviously, we don't know where it's going to go, but like Cuz wasn't kind of far off of where they wanted to go.
That's the talks now. That's the talks that he is the big star for that they have planned for the future. He is the one.
They're working on him for the future, sure. Yeah. Like I mean,
LA Knight's going to take out Cody in real world terms before he does. I mean, come on.
I don't think Breaker is the beater of the Romans. I think Breaker is the Roman.
Roman's not the discussion anymore. Why are we talking about Roman?
Dave, I think they're souring on LA Knight. I think they're like they want him just where he is.
I don't think they're souring on LA Knight.
I don't think he's not going to get to that A+
because
level.
you guys made a point last week that how I always feel like what they're doing now is like they're kind of treating it like UFC, where some guys are on a show this week, then some guys are not on it next week, and I think they have so many fucking people now. They got to they can't pull the trigger on everyone at once, because then someone can drown out.
Can we talk about if the norm is going to be 5 PLEs for 3 hours with the roster they have, that's almost unfair. Right? Like, are they trying to whittle down the roster? Like, that is the amount of spots that are now there. If you're going to do 5 matches in 3 hours for every PLE, That's fucking hard.
Well, that's just for the B shows.
No, it's not though, Craig. It's not because their focus is television. There's 3 hours of Raw
exactly.
and 2 hours of SmackDown every week. That's the consumption. And then they flop pay-per-views. So for Money in the Bank, it's going to be a different set of people than what we just saw. They're going to flop it around. So
you didn't see LA Knight
wants
on the
that.
last PLA. You'll see on the next one. You'll see.
Triple H wants that because he's got to stretch storylines out. Triple H's strategy is simple. It's just like we're not.
Did anybody not see LA Knight and Logan Paul's pool this week?
Yeah.
Anybody miss
exactly? No,
yeah, that shit went viral.
Exactly.
Hey, I've been waiting a while for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
That shit was fucking funny.
So you didn't see LA Knight at all this last PLE or Logan, so you will the next time. And so
they were both on SmackDown.
Triple H is doing, to me, this is what we grew up on. This was the 80s, right? It was a stretched out, character driven, because we never talked about the last pay-per-view. It's a B show again. I was like, nothing was an A, everything was a solid B. It's exactly what we get. This isn't a reimagining of the Attitude Era. This is a reimagining of the Rockin' 80s. And more and more, I'm like, that's what this is because Triple H is stretching the time out. He's like, listen, we're not blowing stuff off in 90 days. We're going to blow shit out in 6 months to a year. So I love that because it stretches your dollar. It stretches characters. It makes people in your memory for a long time. Vince would blow through things so fast. I'm like, oh, I forgot that even happened. How's Roman 9-time world champion already? All that stuff. That doesn't happen anymore. It's like now. I
guess what I mean, that's absolutely correct. I think that POV about it actually being the Rockin' 80s is beautiful because you actually are pimping towards PLEs. Because people aren't paying $40 for PLEs anymore. They're paying $9 a month for Peacock. The only time we ever really text each other is PLEs. That's our moments. What I was just saying is the amount of space on these PLEs now, even if it is every month and you're between SmackDown and Raw, I don't watch that TV. So it's just in order to bust out to that PLE level, you've got to
you got to think too. Sometimes
I'm just seeing less opportunity.
Craig, it makes it more I don't want fucking 12 matches on pay-per-view anymore. They should earn it. They need a brass ring to quote Vince McMahon of all people. They need even workers, even in real life. You have to fight for something. You can't just be guaranteed a spot.
You're doing it.
It was never like that when we grew up. When the people who made it on WWF pay-per-views, when we were kids, they were the big stars for a reason. Vince didn't put fucking, like Iron Mike Sharp on pay-per-views for a reason. He didn't put all those people on for a reason. He groomed people. And you would see the lower tier, Boss Man, if you saw him and Coco on a pay-per-view, Boss Man's going over. But I mean, he still built Coco up just enough to where you think maybe, and Triple H is doing that now. And I love it. And I think it needs to be done like that. I think that you got to stretch it. You got to slow time down. You can't keep throwing everything at us and then starting over again and starting over and starting over. No, we're going to forget. It's too fast.
It really is to not.
I want to know their characters. I want to be able to clearly remember where someone was a year ago or something like that and know that I didn't miss anything. Or if you miss a week of television, you don't miss anything now. In the Vince McMahon land, if you missed 1 week of Raw, you fucking missed a ton. And it was you can't I think Triple H is to be if you want to lapse or you miss an episode, that's cool because we're still going to be look at how long it took the Wyatt 6 to debut. Oh, yeah. People were fucking come on. Vince would have had him debut in a month after they started the first vignettes. It's been months, right? That they started doing this.
The casual fan is if you're not paying for Peacock Premium, you do not get to see the packages.
The vignettes, yeah.
And I think if you're a casual fan, you are missed stories behind.
You are, yeah. And they usually, I think for the main event, they let that one show, right? Yeah, it's usually the main event they let you see that video package. But yeah, other than that, throughout the whole, which sucks because I go on their WWE.com and their YouTube channel and see all the shit for free anyway. So it doesn't really matter. They're gonna have the hype packages everywhere. But when you spend the day hanging out with Rob Van Dam and you're in that level, you kind of want to see it. It's like you're watching a movie, so you want to see all the video packages. And I only pay. I don't want to pay for the $10 Peacock. I don't care to.
No, I don't want to see commercials.
I do because I was already paying for $10 for the WWE Network, so I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's a good point. I don't pay for anything else. So, Sling, I pay for Sling, but I can watch Raw.
I'm a higher class than you, Pores, so it's just different. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
I get the WWE Elite. I guess so.
I guess
so. Forbidden Door is this weekend. Yes, is it?
No,
it's next weekend.
It's on the 30th.
No,
Next weekend.
I'm wrong.
What's today? Oh yeah. You're right. And then the week after that is Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank,
which
4th of July weekend or whatever.
Carmelo advanced again in his match against Tamatanga and Orton tonight. And Chelsea Green edged it out against Bianca and Michin.
No.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green.
She's fucking funny. Yeah. Yeah, that shit was fucking
The thing I like, I love all the qualifying matches and they breathe it. Like they breathe all the qualifying matches.
Yeah.
They don't like fucking
spread it out.
I love it. It takes 3 weeks to build
just
up.
Like the King of the Ring when they did that with the King and
yes, in the beginning. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the royalty of the ring. Yeah, and then that's the thing too. They're gonna have November. They're gonna have Survivor Series and another Saudi pay-per-view. So that's gonna be 2 PLEs that month.
Oh shit! I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's I think the Saudi one is November 2nd, I believe, and then whenever Survivor Series is, which the way they're doing the Bloodline stuff, if that's the night when Roman returns, oh my god, that crowd is gonna. Yeah, no, you bring Roman Reigns here. Roman Reigns here. The Saudi. Roman Reigns come back at the Saudi, baby.
Roddy Piper, yes.
The Prince with Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Oh no. God damn it.
He and welcome his wife.
Why?
And kid.
What?
Like, Prince what? Oh, we have. I better not say that. Okay. Table.
Good job, cuz.
We have booster seat for his kid. All right. All right. Well.
What about the money?
I guess Craig, I guess Craig can't take us to where we're gonna go.
I'm gonna kill it.
You did. You killed it already.
Be a little.
Put that mic.
I'm just hanging, man. Putting the boat in the water. I'm just hanging, man. Putting the boat in the water.
Playing the soundboard.
I'm just hanging, man. Putting the boat in the water.
You hear me?
Craig.
All right, are we done here?
God, I hope so.
You hear me?
I hear you.
Do you feel my passion?
I do. I feel it. It's horseshit. I feel it.
I'm trying to be comrade.
I'll call it for him. I will see you at the match.
There you go. Good job,
We'll
dude.
see you at the match.
This is horrifying.
Fee, fi, fo, fum.
Stop.